Hi, Buffs. Today I'm with none other than Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you so much for doing this with me. You've built one of the most exciting influencer agencies just based off a 500-pound bet that you placed on yourself a couple years ago. And it's massive. You did it out of your own conviction. And not just that, she's also the recent winner of Advertising Week's Futurist Female Awards, which is not just a headline, it's a full circle moment right now. So I'm thrilled to unpack how you redefine leadership, influence, and purpose in this ever-evolving creator economy.
Thank you. Really looking forward to it.
Okay. So let's start at the very beginning because I feel like your why is just as important as your what. So it's 2017, you've got 500 pounds in your pocket, and you've just launched the Digital Voices. What was your North Star then? And at that stage, because remember, guys, it's 2017 and influencer marketing had not yet just become what it is today. So, how did you see what it could be back then?
That is such a good question. I think hindsight's 2020, right? So you can always answer things as though you know what was going to happen, but being completely honest, there are so many twists and turns of any entrepreneurial journey. My North Star back in 2017 was that I felt like the creator economy truly democratized media, and that's why I got so excited. I think when marketers spend a lot of money, it used to go to the same production houses, the same media agencies, the same TV channels, the same paid media platforms, and I'd come out of working at Google, so I knew where the money went, and I was very happy with that. But what the potential of the creator economy was a whole generation of global entrepreneurs who are creating content, owning their audience, and building these communities. And I loved that, like, most of our money goes to pay these creators who would otherwise never have existed as entrepreneurs. And so what I found really exciting was that there was an opportunity to be a part of it. I didn't know in what way. There were lots of twists and turns on the journey, but that was the thing that I found really exciting and inspiring consistently.
Awesome. And I love that you saw the possibility even before data could get tied to that. So,
yeah, I think the other thing in 2017, if you look back to that context, everyone was just doing Instagram or Facebook. That was the only influencer marketing platforms that agencies were really working with. And I come from YouTube, and everyone was doing like brand awareness through Instagram posts. It wasn't, stories barely existed.
Yeah.
And what I saw was that YouTube creators were the ones driving sales through clicks in their videos, and they were driving like bottom of funnel results. So I remember thinking, like, if I were a brand, I'd really want to drive sales. I think awareness is great, but that's what I'd want to do. Why is no one doubling down on that? And I think that at the time, it was because YouTube was a much harder platform to get right. Yes. It was really hard to find creators. They were more expensive. The content took longer to produce. There was also a limited inventory, right? You could produce an Instagram post every day. The YouTube video, you'd need an idea for it. You'd need to film it. You need to edit it. It takes much longer. So the cost of entry was much higher and it was more work. But I believe that there would be much stronger results if we thought about influencer marketing as a full funnel channel. And so it took a couple of years to get to this stage, but once we got there, that's when the company really grew. So there were 5 of us going into COVID, and now there's like 80 people. So it was actually, the first 3 years was a really slow pace of growth. But then suddenly when you find what clicks, and for us that was guaranteed results, full funnel influencer marketing, really smart strategic campaigns where we're a true partner to our clients. Once we pivoted and positioned ourselves that way, the business took off a lot. But it took a lot of ups and downs and learning to work out what the structure that makes sense is when you're running a business.
I'm just inspired right now because that takes a lot of guts, courage, and perseverance to push through something that nobody else is able to see, but then you're able to see that potential right there. It's like you found this diamond in the rough, and I love it, Jennifer. Which brings me to today, because it's no surprise that you're the only active female CEO in the UK running an influencer agency making over $10 million in revenue. And that's massive. It's not easy. And my follow-up question is, how has that shaped how you lead, how you hire, and how you stand in your space?
Such a good question. I think the leadership part is always the toughest. I think if you start with ego and thinking you know the answers to everything, you know better than your clients, you know better than your team, you should be the one in control, that's when you're going to build a business that won't last. So I think you really need to come with openness and to the fact that you can hire people who know way more than you do in their specialist areas. I think the other thing I found really hard is trusting your gut. So I think everyone gets a bit of imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And I don't think your gut is like women's intuition. I think your gut is a collection of data from your experience. So let's not like romanticize this as some quasi fluffy women thing. Like you should trust your gut because that's the culmination of your life experience. But I find it really interesting because you have to, despite when things go wrong, despite when things don't work out, you have to still believe like, I think I'm capable of solving this problem.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my friends said this once. Someone had tried to hire me to be CEO of their company and was like, look, you can do digital voice on the side. And it wouldn't have happened. The business would have died. And my friend at the time said to me, okay, just going to ask a question. Do you think you're smarter than this person? And when it came down to it, I was like, do I want to build my vision or do I want to build someone else's? Do I want to put my effort into building what I believe in or building someone else's? And in the end, I did bet on myself in that sense. I was like, actually, I do think I'm capable of solving this, or I do think I'm capable of building a team that solves this. So I'd say that's really crucial. That self-belief is not easy and is not nice. And everyone has moments where they're like sat crying in their bedroom, lighting candles, watching Gilmore Girls. Like that happens. But you just have to pick yourself up. You're allowed moments of failure, but like you pick yourself up afterwards. The other thing I think that has been transformative in terms of running the company is that we have a real feedback culture. And I know everyone talks about this, but like genuinely, I do say quite a lot, feedback is a gift. Even if it's someone saying, Jenny, you know, when you say, how are you doing, guys, on a group call, no one's going to answer. Like, Jenny, change your tone. Great. Feedback is really, really difficult to give. And it means you have to have an awkward conversation, right? No one wants to have an awkward, horrible conversation. But if someone has thought about something, taken the time to think about it, taken the time to think about a problem and a solution, is willing to put themselves in the uncomfortable position of having that conversation with you or with someone else on the team, they only say that because they believe change is possible. And they only say it because they believe there's a capacity to be better. So they have literally gone through an uncomfortable thing to make a team or a relationship better. So everyone on my team, like whether the most junior person, I'm like, if you see something we could be doing better, tell me, or like tell your boss, tell someone, and we'll make it happen. And I think that level of like accountability and empathy on the team, and hopefully a lack of ego, which I think kills businesses, is what's made us successful and grow and kind of keep upping the level we perform at.
I think it's such a rare quality that leaders possess about, keeping your ego aside. And the way you just described how you respect somebody's opinion or them taking the time to give you feedback or give anyone else on the team feedback, that's the real success behind one's growth. And that attitude really takes people far. So it's no surprise that you're doing so well and you're doing what you do because you're also working with a ton of people externally. So being this cautious about your leadership style is remarkable. I wouldn't be surprised if you launch a book someday on leadership. So my next question is about how you, through your YouTube videos and your TEDx talk, which I listened through, you have not just spoken about purpose. It's something that you've baked into what you do and what you've built. So I want to ask, how do you balance scaling a global business while staying true to your mission? Because what I see, sometimes the purpose is taken out and it's more about profit. But from the way you just spoke about your leadership style and how you've also spoken externally across different platforms, it's very evident that purpose is ingrained in you and you value people. So love to know.
There's a few different aspects to purpose. I think that's a really big question, and purpose isn't quite in vogue this year the way it used to be. I think you have to have an individual purpose, a mission that people buy into. And then often if you have an industry purpose, that helps as well. Or if you have your red lines, your moral red lines you won't cross. So for me, my individual purpose is learning. Like every day I want to go to work and I want to find new challenges. And if I learn something, a skill, I want to then hand it to someone else because I'm like, here, I've solved this problem. You can run it better than me now. Go ahead. And so to me, that's why I choose this career path. I think there are lots of things you can do with the 40 years of your life that you spend working. But to me, if you're not learning, you're not gaining anything back. So personally, that's really important to me. We try and ingrain it in the business, but also like it's an individual choice. A lot of people want to just go to work, go home, have an easy life. That's fine. That's their choice. They probably have another purpose. The wider business purpose is really interesting because I think especially with Gen Z, you've learned in the last 5 years that you can't rely on a company. You've learned that there's going to be layoffs, or someone in your life will have been affected by layoff. It might be you, your parent, your friends. You've stopped often trusting one place as having your back.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that's a very wise calculation. Like, I think, yes, I worked in tech before. I know tech, layoffs happen. But what I think you can do for a company that's a response to that is try and build something together. There are a few things that makes our team really excited and to come on a mission together. One, that the democratizing media piece, right? We know we're paying creators. We know that we're treating them with respect. We're helping their businesses exist that didn't exist before. The second thing is like partnership. We're trying to elevate the way influencer marketing is done in this industry. I think this industry has been very wild, wild west for a long time. So a lot of our clients are enterprise clients. So they are Unilever, Adobe, DoorDash. And for them, they need a standard of service that hasn't existed before, and they need partners that they can trust, and they need you to be integrated in the way different agencies work. So you actually, to professionalize and make influencer marketing sustainable, you need to convince brands that it works.
Yes.
So I think the company has this whole mission piece where it's like democratizing media, but also really trying to make the industry better. So that really helps. And then on the side, I think everyone should have their like red lines they won't work on. So for me, it's like no gambling. Like even crypto has come into that in the past. We've been offered a lot of money to work with crypto. We've been offered a lot of money to work on really unhealthy, psychologically damaging weight loss products. I know that campaigns we run have real impact. I know they make real people buy things. They make people change their behavior.
Yeah.
So there are industries I don't want to touch because I want to sleep at night. And I think a lot of the team feels similar. So if you have those three ingredients, if you have your personal purpose, if you have a mission at your business, and if you have red lines that you openly talk about not crossing and you like don't cross them, then I think combined, that gives you a purpose that hopefully lives beyond you as an individual. It lives across an organization.
I'm growing in admiration for Jenny here because this is remarkable. It's extremely rare to find somebody who stands true to their beliefs and who's able to break it down that way. Purpose plus your company's mission plus your red lines. It's so important to have red lines, and I love that you have that clear demarcation because that just sets the boundary for what's healthy and what's not, because you see the power in the content that you're doing with your influencers. I love it. And also, I love how you mentioned that you're a learner. I'm a learner personally, and I think it's so true because the minute somebody does not choose to learn, as much as it's their choice because their purpose can be different, but the minute somebody chooses not to learn, they cannot grow. They're stagnant. And I love how you mentioned that is like the fiber of your being. But
yeah, you're so right. And I think it's beyond your personal growth. I think like the moment you stop living with curiosity, it kills empathy.
Yes.
And there's so much more of that we need in society today. And that's, I think, the reason why everyone says, oh, you're going to replace influencers with AI influencers or virtual influencers. You're like, no, people crave human connection. People crave empathy. And for me, that's something that's been the core of marketing for like 100 years and isn't going to go away. So yeah, I think curiosity and learning sets you up for career success, but also just for personal success, for being a good person.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you just brought up AI because that's where my next question is headed. So, like what you said, we as humans, we have empathy, unlike seemingly conscious AI, which a lot of users tend to think that it's empathetic, it's resonating with what they're saying. But in reality, no, it's not. It's just an LLM model. So, speaking of innovation, you've been pushing boundaries beyond brand briefs. You just recently launched your own proprietary influencer tech at the Digital Voices, and I'm curious, what's one shift you're most excited about right now?
That's a really, really good question. There are two. One of the things I'm really excited about is measurement. So the CEO of Unilever talked about how he wanted to 20x their spend on influencer marketing, and that had ramifications across the industry. So influencer marketing budgets have really increased. But if you can't demonstrate the impact of them, you're going to lose your budget next year. It's going to go to the next fad, or it's going to go back to paid media or somewhere that's just more easily attributable. So I think measurement and demonstrating results with data is going to be really, really important this year. And then the other thing with AI, I think it's AI for efficiency. This is still a very human industry and I want to keep humans in it. We do onboarding calls with every creator. That takes a lot of time. Making sure a creator truly understands the product and that the content resonates with the brand messaging, that all takes time. If you can use AI to optimize data processes, to optimize negotiation, to optimize briefing, amazing. There are still very human parts that you need kind of creativity and you need empathy for. So we're hoping that we can balance scaling our service with keeping some of the more tangible human pieces.
I love that. I love that you are having a very human-centric approach. It's essential. Now that we're coming to the end of our session, I'd love to wrap this up with a quick rapid fire. Just
Nervous
one.
for these.
Just one-liners off the top of your head.
Okay.
And so for our audience of marketers and creators, you really want to know what the CEO of Digital Voices is thinking right now, because this is going to be quick. The first question, the most overrated metric in influencer marketing right now.
Follower count.
A brand that's nailing authenticity right now in 2025. Are you allowed to say it?
I think so. I mean, I love our work with Magnum Ice Creams. They did this rave in a bakery at Cannes Film Festival this year. We had creators come from all over the US and Europe, and they made croissant like Magnum ice cream sandwiches.
Aww.
And Charlie XCX did like a paparazzi walk with a Magnum, and then that resonated across social. I loved it because I think what a lot of audiences are looking for is a brand that is playful and giving them like designing something experiential, but then allowing moments where that can resonate across their real lives. So you can be at home and try the Magnum ice cream croissant thing. But I think that's what people are looking for. They're not looking to get the FOMO of an influencer trip, but they're looking to think, oh, that's a cool experience. That says a lot about a brand. How can I also take joy and pleasure from that
Absolutely.
experience?
And I'm guilty of that. If you had to launch a campaign tomorrow with one creator, which creator would it be and why?
It's I want to go for a slightly older trend this year. Okay, so it's a this year trend. Ashby and Hamilton. I don't know if you saw the Hamilton parody videos where it's like women dressing up as Alexander Hamilton, trying to sneak out of the window.
I did.
Yeah. And then they had like his wife, like, for God's sake, come back to bed. So men were dressed as his wife. It was really funny. And then they all got brought together for the Hamilton. They all came in their costumes for this Hamilton screening. I would have loved to do like a stage makeup partnership with them, or maybe if you're releasing a new film or a new musical, if you're doing Wicked, literally get all the Hamilton people to reenact a scene from Wicked 2. That would be so fun.
That definitely would be so fun.
Come on, Ashby, you're my dream creator to work with.
Yes, please comment for more visibility. The next one is my last one. The next generation of female founders will da-da-da. Complete the sentence as you wish.
So interesting. I was listening to Grace Beverly's podcast on this with the founder of Topicals. Okay. And she talked about how she felt so much responsibility being, I think she was the youngest ever Black female to raise private equity money. I think she raised like $15 million. And she talked about the responsibility, like, now I've done this, I realize I need to succeed because people who look like me are going to be judged based on whether this was a good investment or not.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping it will get easier for female founders because there'll be more examples of female CEOs who have driven exceptional commercial results, taken investment, and at least 2x it compared to their male counterparts. But in the context we live in, that's me being optimistic. I think it might still be really hard, but I hope that they will continue to get funding.
This has to be one of my most favorite fireside chats. Thank you so much, Jenny. This was absolutely wonderful. And to everyone watching, I would really love you to take a page from Jennifer's playbook. Lead with heart, with curiosity, measure with meaning, and never, ever underestimate yourself and underestimate the power of 500 pounds with a vision.
Thank you.